There is a fuel shortage across eastern United States. Now, we've talked about this before. We've talked about diesel in shortage. We've talked about heating oil. We've talked about gasoline in shortage because there just aren't enough refineries across the east coast of the United States. And some of you don't hear anything for a little while and kind of assume, well, maybe it just got better. Well, the answer is no, it really hasn't. It's just, it hasn't gone to crisis mode yet, but we are skirting the edge of a crisis. All it takes is one big storm to come along, one big issue to come along, and we're going to be in a world of hurt. Let me go through this to show you kind of where we stand. Diesel fuel and heating oil stocks have decreased 63% compared to the 5-year average in New England. We have less than 50% of the diesel fuel and heating oil stocks that we would have this time of year compared to normal years. Less than half. And then we look at not just New England, but down in the Maryland, up through New York, so Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland through New York, down by 58%. That's a big deal. That is according to the Energy Information Administration. Okay, that's government numbers, is that we are less than half of where we are on average. Across the entire East Coast, that goes all the way down to just north of Florida, we are looking at a decrease by 47% compared to the seasonal average. So the entire East Coast of the United States has half of the oil, heating oil, diesel, and gas that it normally has. Does that sound like a crisis to you? It's not crisis yet, but we're on the cusp of it. All it will take is a colder winter than normal, a big storm that takes out some of the refineries for a short bit, or something that disrupts things in some way. Of course, prices are still hanging at pretty high levels. Diesel, the average price of diesel is over $5 a gallon. And then when you take into account, all the taxes and stuff like that, gasoline prices are hanging around $5 a gallon, nationwide average of $3.80, but East Coast, it's $5. 24%, over 24% of East Coast homes use heating oil as their primary source of heat. So that is a big deal. It's not just all electric across the East Coast. A lot of heating oil is used, and that is going to be mission critical for a lot of folks to make sure that they have heating oil. This is an article that comes from MSN, which is from the Heart of the Beast system. But they have some very interesting things here to say about what's going on. State regulators, gas and electric executives, and leadership of grid operator ISO New England shared their thoughts at the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission hosted in New England's Winter Gas Electric Forum yesterday, where the need to quickly develop an insurance plan for the winter, including ordering liquefied natural gas shipments to supplement fuel supplies during peak demand, became a central theme across 4 panels of testimony. 4 separate heads of power agencies are saying that they need to get some insurance plan of some backup power or backup energy that they can use in case things get dicey this winter. This isn't some fringe theory. This is coming from MSN, okay? This is like mainstream as you can get. Who said what? James Daly, Vice President of Energy Supply for electric and gas utility Eversource Energy, which serves parts of Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire, told FERC's commissioners, frankly, that fuel is the problem for the region. This is a major executive of an electricity generating company in the Northeast saying fuel is the problem. It's because there isn't enough capacity available in the interstate pipelines on extremely cold winter days other than for the heating load. So residential heating is going to take up all the fuel that's coming up. There isn't going to be any fuel for power generating. Are you listening yet? There won't be enough for energy generation on a cold day, cold winter days. Prices this winter are going up, speaking of electricity, over 60 to 100% over what they were last winter. Note that gas and electricity prices already were exceptionally high during periods last winter. They're going up another 60 to 100% over last year. Winter natural gas futures on New England's Algonquin Citygate benchmark have seen trading in the $30 to $40 range per MMBTU this summer. Millions BTUs. They were $7. Okay? $7, but they're now $30 to $40. That's how much natural gas is up. Fuel is the issue. There's not enough pipelines bringing in enough energy. There aren't stockpiles. Our stockpiles are well below 50% of where they normally are. We don't have the refinery capacity to actually produce these fuels so they can go into the pipelines. And we're taking so much of this natural gas, heating oil, and all that, and it's going overseas to Europe because they are in crisis mode over there. And so the energy companies here in the United States are loading as much as they can onto ships and sending it to Europe. And it is putting the east coast of the United States, particularly New England, because it gets cold there, and lower the mid-Atlantic states, because there will not be enough fuel for electricity generation and heat. So we hear people talking about whether they're going to have to choose food or their electricity bill. What is it going to look like when power companies have to decide, are we going to make it so some people can't heat their homes, or are we going to make it so that people have lights on? Okay? You need to have backup heat source. You need to have some sort of electricity capability, or electricity buckets, as I like to call it. Some kind of power units that you can store up some electricity to run basic things that you need to run. So a solar generator or something like that is a great thing to do. If you can't afford that and you don't want to go that way, there'll be a link down in the description down below. You can get just the little battery bricks that you can recharge cell phones off of. If you don't have something that can recharge your cell phone, that's mission critical right there. If your cell phone dies, even if the cell phone towers are working and you don't have any way of recharging your cell phone, that's a big problem. Those little battery bricks can be anywhere from 15 to, you can go up from there, but you can get some of these for like 15, 20 bucks. I'm going to link a cheap one down below, but you don't have to go with that. Now, they're notorious for lying about the capacities, okay? So be careful about that if you go onto Amazon or Walmart or something like that. The brands from overseas, they just lie out the wazoo about the capacities of their batteries. So take that with a grain of salt. But a cheap one of these things can recharge your cell phone when you don't have any other power. What will often happen when there's low power is that they will start rotating who gets electricity. So you may get off for 2 hours, on for 2 hours. That's a bad grid, okay? It may be where you just lose power for 2 hours a day. Or, like I said, in a catastrophic situation where they're really rationing power, it may be you get one power on and then one power off, or two on, two off, something like that. They will communicate to you on your cell phone what they are planning on doing. They will send you an alert that your power is going to be turned off from such and such to such and such. They will usually tell you kind of what that's going to look like, unless it gets really catastrophic real fast. So they will try to plan the load, and that will give you times that you know you need to make it through this 2-hour period before you get power back on so you can cook and everything like that. But you're going to want to have battery packs of some sort so you can recharge your electronics, recharge your communications equipment. If you have kids and you need to keep entertainment options going, make sure you have power for that. Or invest in some good children's books that are going to be age appropriate for them that you don't get from school, because there's all sorts of garbage that comes from school on some of those books, if you know what I mean. All right, so folks, hope you're hearing what's looking like this winter. My recommendations for fuel are, if you can, stock up on propane. You can get 20-pound tanks, and you can get the little propane heaters, or you can get wood stockpiled for if you have a wood burner in the house. That's a great way to go. You can stockpile a ton of wood. That's easy to store. If you can't do that, look at propane. If you can't do propane, or you don't want to do propane, you can look at kerosene. That's not my favorite, but if you want to go that route, that's up to you. Look at getting lots of blankets. Look at getting you can get really cheap, like, moving blankets. They're not the best, but if you get a whole bunch of blankets to insulate a room, insulate one room, keep that one room warm if you need to conserve energy. And do all your cooking in there. Do everything that's going to take up heat in there if best you can. Have some way to cook your food, or be ready to eat just cold food. All right, folks, if you found this video helpful or useful, you might want to check out another video from me right here. Otherwise, I will see you later. Steve Poplar, out.